Hello everyone. Today I am at the Arboretum. I'm gonna go for a walk and I really wanted to film a video for you guys on the emotional body so that you can understand the emotional body and begin to work with it on a deeper level. So in this video today, we're going to talk about how to work with the emotional body, why it's being so deeply misunderstood, and why it's actually the misunderstanding of the emotional body that gives us issues. It is not the emotional body itself that is the problem. So to begin with, we have these terms in society about the emotional body that is emotions are bad, just disidentify with it, don't listen to it, just suck it up, just forget about it, you'll feel better if you don't go there. Basically, if an emotion comes up, you know, you've basically done something wrong and you need to push it away right away. Body. And the reason that we do this is because it scares us. It scares us and we don't know what to do. We don't know how to work with it. The emotional body actually is a guidance system. It's an indicator. It is telling us when we're coming closer to our natural state of alignment and when we're coming further away from our natural state to alignment. It's really that simple. And the more that we understand how it works and why it works this way and how to work with it, the less it's going to feel like it is harming us in our life, and the less it's going to feel like the emotional body is the problem, and instead the emotional body starts to become the solution for us. So when I say that the emotional body is body, what I'm referring to is one of three bodies within our system here on Earth as physical beings. The first system is the physical system, the physical body, and this is the one that humans are the most familiar with, right? And it's the one that we've learned to master. It's the ones that we've learned to kind of understand. The other system is the mind. This is the one that gets us in trouble the very most. This is what we need to also learn to work with. And we have the emotional body. So the emotional body can be seen as an energetic system within the physical body that indicates when we're closer to our natural state and when we're farther away from our natural state. So when you begin to feel into the emotional body instead of making it your enemy, you can benefit from the indicator that, okay, so right now in this moment, I'm farther away from where I need to be and I'm closer to where I need to be in this moment. So the emotional body can be seen as an ocean or a river of water running through your system that has a sensation, a feeling that indicates to you what physically and mentally is happening within you right now. Is it farther away or closer to your core authentic truth, to your core purpose, to your natural state, to what you want, to what is your joy and what it is that you are wanting? So how else is it going to benefit you to understand the emotional body? How else is it going to benefit you to start learning how the emotional body works and using it to your advantage? Well, one of the reasons is manifestation. When it comes to manifestation, we can't just rely on what we're controlling in our conscious mind, because the conscious mind is only about 10% of what is happening within the manifestation. The rest is what's happening unconsciously, subconsciously, and happening within the emotional body. And all of our systems are connected. So if your mind is out of whack on a subconscious level, if your emotions are out of whack, then it doesn't matter what you do with your conscious mind, you're not going to get very far. You're not going to get very far in your reality. But the good news is that we can learn how to work with our emotions, how to work with our subconscious mind, so that we can actually reprogram all three bodies of systems. And when you reprogram the mind, when you reprogram the emotional body, guess what? your physical reality completely changes. Be a match to a different physical reality, but actually everybody around you is going to be receiving the same results because we are all connected as humanity. We're connected to the earth grid consciousness of the earth, and we're connected to every single person on this planet. So when people in your life that you're connected to interact with you on an energetic level, not even on a physical level, they're also going to dramatically change their reality based on the work that you're doing. And I've seen it happen in real life, where the work that I did with my emotional body changed my family, where they were with their emotions, and it changed our entire family's connection with each other. Really, really magical work, and this is why I'm sharing it with you guys. This one's all about the emotional body. So law of attraction, really quick. The knowledge, the inherent knowledge that we are all connected, we are all one with the universe. We're source of the quantum energy that is feeding into the physical body and cellular makeup of everything. You are connected to the entire universe through that, and you actually control and create collectively your reality, and the collective reality is also creating what is physically and cellularly the reality at any given moment. So it's a collective co-creation that we're taking part in, but there's also a very strong personal reality that you're creating at the same time. You have the most control over your vote within the collective reality and your personal reality being your vote and being what you're going to get out of this reality, what you're going to be experiencing out of this reality. When you change how it is that you're perceiving reality and how it is that you're creating reality, the three main bodies, you're going to be seeing that the physical body, the physical reality around you is going to shift. How it works is Nassim Haramein has scientifically and mathematically proven that we are connected through a system of black holes. If you've ever heard of the flower of life, if you've ever heard of that geometric pattern where it starts with one main flower and then the flowers kind of connect and come off of that, and they each have a 0 point, and every 0 point is connected to another 0 point, and the connection of the 0 points together is what creates the flowers. We, this universe, are the flowers. So I have what is called extrasensory abilities, and I can actually see the flower of life pattern moving in black hole vortexes energetically over everything that is. There are giant ones, there are smaller ones, and there is a system and a map of geometric patterns all around us at all times. But within us, you can see our heart center, or the core center of our three bodies, as our 0 point. So when we change our 0 point, it connects to the core black hole system of the universe, and that's connecting to every other black hole system in the universe. So you can completely change your reality from there. Why do we need to focus on the emotional body, mental body? Why is it that we're going to get the most benefit, the most impact when we do this? It's because of density. So when you focus on the physical density of changing your physical body, your physical reality, your cellular makeup, when you do things different like change your diet or, exercise, there is a level of density there that is going to be very slow in process. Whereas when you focus on shifting the emotion first, the mental body first, what's happening is that the density is a lot thinner in nature, and so it's gonna change quicker. It's going to accelerate faster. In your emotions and in your mental body are connective codes that you need to understand and to comprehend programming that you need to shift your physical nature the very quickest, the very fastest, and to manifest the very fastest. What takes us away from the natural state of understanding the emotional body and being able to work with it is called resistance. Resistance is an energetic system within the body that becomes push away. It's this feeling that whatever is happening should not be happening. It should be different. I need it to be different, and I won't be okay until it's different. And so resistance, this push away, this state of this is not okay, whatever is happening is not okay, is actually the very thing that makes it not okay. that causes the suffering with the emotional body. Remember how I said that the systems of our body, the emotional body, is like a river or like an ocean? What happens is that this resistance becomes like a humongous beaver dam, and all of our focus in the emotional body is on the dam. It's on the block. It's on this kind of locking system that is stopping the water from flowing, that is stopping our emotional body from giving us the information that we need to thrive, and stopping us from working with it in a way that we need to thrive. The water that's flowing is both positive and negative emotion. Both of these flows, these currents within the ocean or the river, both of them, all of the water and all of the currents, are both positive and negative. Within the universe and within the emotional body, whether it's a negative stream or a positive stream, all it tells us is wanted or unwanted. It doesn't actually give us issues or suffering. What causes the suffering is not understanding it, not being able to work on it, and that's what's really causing the suffering in this situation. We need to learn about these dams, and we need to learn about the ocean, and we need to learn about how to work with resistance, allow the dam to open up so that the water can flow again. We can be in the harmony of the direction of the waves of the ocean and be in the movement, in the flow of the universe, so that we can create and thrive and live the life of our joy and the life that we want to live. All right, so this is how begin to understand resistance. So we need to start looking at what the dams actually are. They are resistance. What's happening should not be happening, but they're resistance that is locked onto a trigger, okay? So a trigger is this. When I'm going about my day and something happens that's out of my natural state, out of alignment, something, communication in my relationships happens, something takes me further away from myself in that moment, something not pleasant that happens in my life. So these things happen and they occur, and then a trigger comes up. A trigger is a wave or a current within the ocean coming up and saying, there's something here that you need to see. There's something here that you need to change. This is not in harmony with your truth. This is not in harmony with what you really want, with what the universe really wants for you. Take a look at this together. Air or the current gets caught in the dam, and so it can't go anywhere, and it just gets locked in there, and you just stay in that trigger, in the resistance of this should not be happening. And that's what causes you suffering. What we need to do instead is understand what the triggers are, begin to understand our trauma. Trauma is a current within the ocean that is connected to the things that have happened to us in childhood. In childhood, under the age of 10, our brains are underdeveloped. When bad things happen to us, we cannot logically reason what's happening, and we don't understand what's happening from an adult brain. We understand it from a child's brain. Very simple things like mom was busy and she didn't want to talk to me and she yelled at me instead, or mom neglected my need. To us as a child, we perceive that as total eternal abandonment. So what happens is that moment of total eternal abandonment was a moment where the child didn't understand what was happening, not able to create resolution. There was stress and there was no resolution for it. What happens is that it actually cuts off from your mainstream of consciousness. What happens is fragmentation occurs. So what fragmentation is that you have your core consciousness, your core emotional body, your core mental body, your core physical body, and your emotional body fragments off from your core self and stays stuck or frozen in that moment of trauma, of stress. And it just stays there. And so you start moving along in your life and go on because you have to. And the part of you that couldn't figure it out in that moment stays there. Now, in your adult life, we can reason things and logically reason things a hell of a lot better. But when a trigger comes up, it is connecting us to that trauma that is stored underneath. It is connecting us to the deeper trauma. And why it's doing that is because it wants us to integrate it. So we get stuck And we actually become attuned in that moment with our childhood self that was stuck in that moment. So now we're no longer our adult self that can reason and can logically figure things out. Now we're the inner child again that's stuck in that moment. So we go into the inner child's brain, we go into the inner child's reasoning, and we go and we take actions from that, stuck there, and we get stuck in suffering because of that. So what we need to do is we need to acknowledge that this trauma is being stored there, that this trigger is telling us we need to go into that trauma and we need to work with that trauma. So the first thing you need to do is realize that whatever is happening in this moment, even if it's unpleasant, even if it's unwanted, this is not what's causing me suffering. What's causing me suffering is the resistance, is the trigger, is the trauma connected to something that happened a long time ago. And if I want to come back into the adult brain to reason how to deal with the situation in a more adult conscious way to get the most out of it and to find the outcome that I want from it, I have to deal with the emotional body, and I have to deal with the trigger and the trauma underneath, the stored trauma underneath. There is a process of unpacking within our trauma. So the first part of the unpacking process is to look at the trigger, is to look at that moment of resistance. So to see that, okay, so can I absolutely know that what's happening right now is not supposed to be happening? Can I absolutely know that I'm not completely powerful to deal with it? Can I absolutely know that if I don't actually bring it closer and work with it, it's not going to be changed for the better? How do I absolutely know that in this moment, it's not okay to have this experience? Well, the answer is that you can't. You can't be absolutely certain that this experience is not supposed to be happening exactly as it's supposed to be happening, or otherwise it wouldn't be happening. So even though it's unpleasant, we acknowledge, I'm not happy with this. I don't like this. And then we say, okay, so what can I do about it? The trauma becomes stored within the physical body, within the emotional body, and within the mental body. And what it is it's basically its own river, or its own stream that is coming off from the main ocean. It's still a part of the ocean, but if you went down that stream or that river, you wouldn't be in the main ocean anymore. You would be off on that stream or on that river. You would be going in that direction instead. And you can always get back to the ocean from that point, that direction, but you can't just fight the river. If the river's going one way, you have to flow with it and work with it to get yourself back to the ocean. If you wanted to fight the river or try to go in the opposite direction of the river, you're going to be fighting against the current. You need to actually start working with the river. This is what it is when we're choosing to create from a place of not understanding our emotions and not working with our emotions, or only using positive focus techniques, is that we're trying to fight against the current. We're not working with the current, working in cohesive harmony with the current. When a trigger occurs, it's an alarm bell, it's an indicator. Okay, right now you're not in your adult self anymore. You're off on this stream, this river, that is this childhood trauma, this childhood stress that was stored in your body, stored in your emotions. What you need to do is you need to start feeling into the current. You need to feel into what direction is this current taking me in? What happened in that moment of trauma? What happened in my emotional body? What happened in my mental body? What happened in my physical body in this moment of trauma? And this is how you do it. You use your emotional body as the access point. Once you get past resistance, you get past pushing it away, you're going to want to bring it closer instead. So the first step to working with the dam and getting rid of the dam so you can work with the emotional body is to have the thought, well, maybe this is supposed to be happening. Maybe I can actually bring this closer instead of farther away. So once you have that first thought and you start moving in the direction of your emotions, that's your first indicator that you can start actually working with this emotional trigger that's come up. So what you do is you work with the trigger or the adult scenario that happened, the adult trauma that happened. Let's work with an example so that you can really understand it better. Let's say in our adult life, our boyfriend didn't want to give us attention in that given moment. And we started going into this trigger. There's these emotions coming up, and then there's this resistance, this idea that this shouldn't be happening, okay? So this resistance is coming up, it's knocking on your door, and it's saying, indicator, this shouldn't be happening right now. I don't like this. So then you say, okay, I have to work with this now. I have to work with the emotional body. I have to bring it closer now at this point. So what's going to happen is there's going to be an internal fight, because we are so programmed to go in the opposite direction, to stay in the resistance, to get stuck in the dam. Your brain is going to keep pulling you back into the dam. So the more that you should be happening, let's see what's happening, you're basically jumping off from the dam and you're diving into the water, okay? And what's going to happen is the dam is going to pull you back in. You're going to get scared and you're going to go hide back inside the dam, and you're going to get stuck in the resistance again. And different thoughts will come up to bring you back to the dam, like, oh, I can't do this. I'm not capable of this. There's no way I can do this on my own. There's no way I can be powerful enough. There's no way I can be capable enough. This is not working the right way. All of these things. Each time you need to validate and acknowledge, I understand that you're scared right now. I understand that you're afraid this is not going to work for you. I understand that you think that this might not work out the way that you want it to. But we're going to try anyways. We're going to be brave enough to go in the direction of this anyways, and we're just going to give it a chance. So at first, when you start working with the emotional body or the sensation or the trigger, a cover that comes up. So you might enter into the emotional body and all you're going to feel is numbness, or all you're going to feel is this state of boredom, or this isn't working. This is a cover emotion. This is an emotion that is covering up the deeper, more painful emotional trigger there. So it's guarding the emotional trigger. It's guarding that deep down pain underneath on the deeper levels of the current, under the deeper levels of the ocean. What you need to do is you need to stay with that cover. You need to stay with the numbness. You need to stay with the feeling of boredom, okay? Whatever it is. You stay with the first thing that you're feeling throughout your body, and it'll be a sensation. So you start becoming aware. So you start bringing it closer by saying, this is okay right now. I'm going to be present with this. It just takes focus and attention, and validation is like a bonus. To say this is okay that it's happening right now is validation. You can say it in a million ways. I'm sorry that this is happening. I'm here with you. I'm sorry, baby. Whatever it is that you feel that you need to hear in that moment. So what you do is you bring it closer by just being present with the water. So you're not in the dam, you're not in the lock or the resistance anymore. You're in the water itself again. And once you're in the water, you just have to be aware. So how does it feel when the river is flowing through you? What sensations come up in your body when the river is flowing through you? There will be different key points that the trigger or the trauma is occurring within your body. Feel a sensation in your heart. You might feel it in your arms. You might feel like a knocking. It might feel like spikes. It might have a color. It might have a sound or a smell even. Whatever sensation is going through your body at that moment is the trigger, is the emotion, and it's just fine, and it should be happening exactly as it is. So the more you put focus and presence towards the trigger, and you try to get out of the story as much as possible and into just focusing on feeling the water, feeling what it feels like to move throughout your body, feeling what it feels like to be in attunement, and then focus and in presence with it, what it feels like to be in the water itself and to be bringing whatever is happening closer to you, putting focus on it, putting presence on it, and putting validation on it. And the more that you do this, your system is going to unpack itself, and it's going to naturally draw you to deeper levels of the current. And that current might be anger. That current might be fear, might be an aggression, or it might be a deep sense of sadness. But the more that you spend time and validate each level or each sensation, the more you go deeper, the more you get pulled underneath it even more. And you just continue spending time with it and validating it. There are so many ways to spend time with your emotions. In any given moment that you're triggered, you should be just spending time with your emotions and just being with the emotional body. Now, there is a process that I'm a trained facilitator in, created by Teal Swan. It is an 18-step process called the completion process. If you want to learn more about how the completion process works, you can pick up the completion process book from Teal Swan's website. I am just going to give you a quick understanding of how the process works. So I'm not teaching you the process, I'm just telling you what it is. Now, the completion process, what it can do is it can take that adult trigger, that adult trauma that's occurring. It can move through the natural process and the natural unpacking system that your body has occurred. So in that moment of childhood trauma, the consciousness boxes itself off. It becomes really, really deeply stored in your subconscious, and it's really hard to access it through your emotions and through your mind as the adult. So you can access it through the triggers that are happening in your adult life, but you're not going to be instantly drawn into what happened in childhood. Spending time with the adult trigger, the scenario that's happening in your adult life, boyfriend didn't want to give me what I wanted in that moment. The completion process will take you to that original memory. The more that you spend time with the adult memory, the completion process will bring you in to your body's natural state of processing and unpacking into the original memory. So the memory itself, the emotional memory and fragment itself, is going to bring you back to the original trauma in time. And what the completion process does is we spend time with the inner child's experience there. Self one was the first time I felt that way. And basically, by spending time with that emotion, it'll naturally bring us to the first time that we felt that way. And then from there, we spend time in the inner child's perspective, re-experiencing the memory that fragmented. And then we basically listen and feel into a state of relief. While we feel like some sensations kind of lighten up a little bit, and then what we do is we call all our fragments together. So we fragment it, and then we continue to fragment it off from that moment again and again and again. So all of these moments are connected and all connected to that first time. So we take them all back into the root inner child memory, and then what we do is we meet the inner child's needs and we give the inner child a chance to find real resolution. I have had incredible results with this process, with working the emotional body, and I highly recommend it. Thanks for listening to my video on the emotional body, on your understanding of the emotional body. Now, the more that you work with the currents within the water and you go in the direction of the water, the more that you'll be able to manifest and create from a conscious place, an easier place, where you will have the key codes to physically change your life in all areas, and you will feel a deeper sense of ease and wholeness because you'll have integrated. Integration is the process of bringing that emotion closer to you, not farther. The opposite of the dam. Bring it closer to you, you integrate it, and what that means is that fragment, that river, now comes back, joins the main ocean. You are now going to be more whole because you'll have less rivers taking your energy and bringing your emotions in all these different areas, and you'll be closer to your natural state of wholeness each time. So do this work, try it out for yourself, and comment below if you have any questions. My name is Ashen. I am an extrasensory psychic. I am a completion process facilitator and parts work facilitator, and I am also a heart space coach. I help people empower themselves. So you can book a session with me on lushheartsblossoming.com, and you can book a completion process session with me or any other facilitator if you would like to start doing this work. Please have yourself a wonderful day wherever you are. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my hike.